take a look at the next question. So the next question says, agreement and disagreement among economists. Suppose that Lorenzo, an economist from a research institute in Texas, and Neha, an economist from a nonprofit organization on the West Coast, are arguing over government intervention. The following dialogue shows an excerpt from their debate. Neha says that the usefulness of government intervention in the economy is a long-standing issue that economists continue to debate. Lorenzo says, I feel that government involvement in the economy should be reduced because government programs cause more harm than good. And Neha says, while I do agree that government programs can be inefficient, I really think they are necessary to help the less fortunate. Okay, so let's take a look at the question. And this question says that the disagreement between these economists is most likely due to differences in perception versus reality, in value, or in scientific judgment. So this goes down to something that's very fundamental to economists in understanding there are different ways in which we can view the way that society ought to allocate resources, right? There's different, the two main schools of thought are efficiency versus equity. And that kind of, those two different approaches are going to inform different perspectives on government involvement. From an economist point of view, a pure economist point of view, you're all about efficiency. Maximize total welfare to society, total surplus. Doesn't matter who gets a surplus as long as the economy is fully efficient. And so that is what a fully traditional economist would say. And in terms of an analogy, it's basically saying it doesn't matter who gets what slice of the pie, just make the pie as big as possible, right? We're going to maximize that surplus. That's the efficiency standpoint. The other value system is equity, which is saying that efficiency is important, but so is equity, that it's okay to sacrifice some efficiency. So it's okay to get a smaller pie because we care about making sure that people get roughly equal slices of the pie. We want the surplus to go to all types of people, not just some people. And so that equity standpoint is another way of looking at what government should be doing. And so those two differences are informing Lorenzo and Neha's two different points of views. Lorenzo is most likely saying it's inefficient, it's bad, that's a efficiency standpoint, and Neha is saying, you know, the current system without government programs is inequitable, we need government programs to improve equity, that's an equity standpoint. So those two differences in values are what informs those this disagreement. So B is going to be the correct answer here. Now, the second question says, despite the differences, with which proposition are two economists chosen at random most likely to agree? A says lawyers make up an excessive percentage of elected officials. B says that tariffs and import quotas generally reduce economic welfare. And C says that minimum wage laws do more to harm low-skilled workers than help them. And so this is going to have to be something that we're talking about differences between normative and positive statements here. Normative statements are opinions. So Lorenzo's and Neha's opinions up here, these are opinions. They could be contested. And that's contrasted with positive statements, which are commonly accepted or really just observations. They're not really up for debate. And so we're looking for a positive statement because economists might disagree about normative things, but they won't disagree about positive things because positive things by definition are kind of settled observations. So A says lawyers make up an excessive percentage of elected officials. So it's unclear what excessive would refer to. Excessive is in the eyes of the beholder, right? We don't know if one person's excessive is another person's under excessive, right? I don't know if that's a word. So A is going to be more of a normative statement than a positive statement. B says that tariffs and imports quotas generally reduce economic welfare. And so this is closer to positive. There's a little bit of room for disagreements, but generally speaking, we know that barriers to trade are bad for overall efficiency, overall economic welfare and surplus. So if we can lower barriers to trade, then that would be better for the economy. So B is going to be a good answer choice for us right now. And C says minimum wage laws do more to harm low-skilled workers than help them. And again, that's up for debate. You know, some people believe that, some people don't. And there's a lot more argument about C than there is about B. So C is maybe more of a normative statement. B is going to be the best thing, the closest thing to a positive statement, and we're going to go with that. Let's take a look at what the previous tutor said. Previous tutor says that the disagreement between Neha and Lorenzo is essentially based on difference of value. As you notice that the two economists are clearly discussing the practical effectiveness of or value government intervention in the economy, particularly exemplified by Neha's reference to the less fortunate. Therefore, B is the correct answer. Yes, we're going to clarify that a little bit in the explanation. I think the efficiency versus the equity standpoint is a little bit better of an explanation for why that's the right answer. 2 says that Neha believes that the government intervention is to some extent partially efficient, and Lorenzo believes that it's completely ineffective. Therefore, they could both agree that government trade regulations such as tariffs or import quotas have a negative impact on economic welfare. Therefore, option B, or tariffs and import quotas will generally reduce economic welfare, will be the correct answer. Again, to get the right answer, I'm not sure about the rationale, so why don't we clarify this a little bit. So 1 says, for 1, the main difference in value that exists between Neha and Lorenzo is the is efficiency versus equity. Efficiency implies placing a value on efficiency implies that total wealth, social welfare, total surplus in the economy should be maximized. Whereas equity, a value on equity, implies that total equity, that the surplus in the economy should be roughly equitably distributed. This explains the disagreement between the two economists. And 2, the main thing we are looking for in the answer choices is a positive statement, i.e. an observation or fact. Neha and Lorenzo and other economists may disagree about normative statements, i.e. opinions, but will not disagree about positive ones. The tariff answer choice is the closest, is something that the majority of economists have reached a consensus about, and is therefore the closest to a positive statement. Okay? And so the solution is correct, we just want to clarify the explanations.